So you go from managing 12 clients on your own, 4 kids, trying to take care of Rosie, trying to take care of husband, trying to take care of family, trying to take care of 12 clients, crying at
Right.
night, to now with, you said 52 clients?
We have 52 clients, I believe, today.
Yeah.
53, and we're 35 people. So it's
So
been a wild ride.
how do you maintain that one-on-one relationship with your clients? What kind of structures do you put in place for that?
It's actually really interesting. Every people, my name is actually on the door. So it's pretty important that, clients feel that they can reach out to me. And if you ask all 52 clients, I'm very involved. And
Yeah.
like, I don't know. Listen, honestly, we have an amazing team in place. And so I could go away tomorrow and the business would continue on because we've hired so well. But
Right.
I love what I do. So yes, like maybe like day to day, I'm not pitching the media like I used to. There's some obviously that I've been working with for so many years and I love talking to them. And I'm like, the team will say, can you pitch X and X, because they know they'll answer my call because we've
Right.
working together for so many years. But
Right.
they handle, the day to day, the execution. So I can do what I love, which is strategy and working with CEOs. And like you mentioned earlier, like it still is an industry of startups, even though we're working with multi-billion dollar, market cap companies, it's still so new, right?
Right.
So I believe that we work with some of the most innovative and, thought leaders in the space. So I mean, I love having 50 calls a week or 50 tech, not always calls. Like I text a lot of our clients and it's
Yeah.
fun. If you ask them, they can reach me.
Yeah.
So I'm just very involved. Like I said, my name is on the door and I love it. So
I'm a fan of sending voice notes too. I don't know if you send voice notes to people. It's
I
just
do actually. I'm like, I'm talking into my watch. Please, like for whatever it takes. Exactly.
yeah.
It happens. Like happened last time. Like excuse the typos. I meant and, not in.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. It's just like an added element of personalization when, sometimes you're like in an airport, you don't want to be texting or, well, whatever, you're walking somewhere.
yeah.
No, I love that. And then, so talk to me about, and we're still in nuts and bolts. So structure at Mattio, you bring this obvious joie de vivre from like your background and your energy, in media, PR, IR. But how do you build that same like pursuit of innovation in a team level, in a culture level, at your company?
Yeah. So the nice thing is about working in cannabis is that the passion I have, all
Mhm.
35 people have it, right? Like I feel so fortunate. Like I'm not, in terms of recruiting, like we'll put out like a mandate and we'll get 300 applicants for one
Love it.
position because this is a new industry. If you're like, a lot of our team is young, not all of them, but like imagine being able to work in, like, we all saw the tech boom happen. I don't know how old you were, even if you were 10 or you were 20, you
Right.
saw it happen. And
We're
this is
here.
the opportunity of our lifetimes. And to work in an industry that is changing so many things, from health to social justice to criminal justice to wellness, CPG. It's just changing, to be a part of that. So
Mhm.
the passion I have, we have a very, very passionate team, and that's part of it. And we're very critical about our hiring because it has to be that fit. And I can't be everywhere at all the time, as much as I say I can't, right? So, we've hired that way. In terms of structure, we have a good structure. So, I'll just tell you like our process. When we have a new client, we do like an hour and a half to 2 hour onboarding session to start,
Right.
where I'm obviously on that call to help set strategy with the team. And, we set strategy as a team. So really everybody understands where a company is marching towards. And so we can create really great programs that complement what they're doing. So it comes down to, we have a really passionate team. Like people see I post about this on LinkedIn a lot. We're working with companies that are going public, that are transforming like day by day. So
Right.
we're working nights or working weekends and nobody complains.
Right.
Everyone loves it because we're trying to, and it sounds so cheesy, but change the world. I feel
Right.
like we are changing the world. So when you're like mission driven like that, we're in a mission driven industry and a mission driven agency, like I don't have to say anything. They all want to do it.
Dare to dream
It's
big.
amazing.
Right.
It's amazing.
And how enviable to put out a call for a new job description, a new hire, and get 300 applications. I mean,
A recruiter might feel differently because
that's
she's got
hot.
300 applications, but yeah, like it's great. Like, and it's funny, you don't have to consume cannabis to work in cannabis or
Totally.
start our agency, but
Right.
there is this part where you have to like really want and understand the power of what we're doing right now and the power of this plan to be successful. I do,
Right.
because like we're trying to do something really special across the industry, and I feel like you got to really want to be a part of that. And I think that's how we're getting so many applicants because people want to be a part of this changing of history.
Do you believe? The question is like, do you believe that we can change the world? And it
Right.
sounds like your staff is like, hell yeah. Like,
Here for it.
absolutely.
I learned that term, here for it. They're
Right.
here for it.
Here for it. I'm here for it.
That's
I love that. I know. And it's funny about how it takes time to kind of permeate the aquifer. I think the first time, I was raised in a fairly open, open-minded family, but it was my father asking me about cannabis when he had read Michael Pollan's book, the Changing Your Mind book.
yeah.
And I liked reading that in because you said your team is like young, but you got to kind of get everyone, right? Where in Mitch's bio, I think it's on your site, he's like, my celebrity crush is Aldous Huxley. Like, I want to just go to the moon,
Right.
I'm like, this guy is like, this guy fucks. This is funny.
No,
Like,
this guy is fun, but like, don't interview with him. He asks like, I don't understand how he gets to the bottom. Like, he's like half psychologist too. People walk out of those interviews like sweating, but like not in like a scary way. But like, he really has such amazing questions.
Right.
I'm like, how did you learn that? He's like, I found that in the interview. I'm like, I got to learn some of this. I'm like, can you do the job? You're hired, So it's good yin and yang.
He digs deep. All right. So for team level, we use this especially, and I'm curious about how the pandemic has affected you, your team and organizationally in your team. We found this tool, Miro. We don't like work for Miro or get paid by Miro, but it's like an online whiteboarding tool that has been just tremendously useful for our process, which is like brainstorming is a kind of a protected origin term. It's very specific in terms of the rules going in and the output coming out. It's deliberate. I'm curious as you're, when you're managing these strategy sessions, and I imagine your team is not all NYC based, like you're probably remote or distributed. Tell me about the pandemic, how it affected you, and then tools you're using currently.
Yeah, so it's really interesting. We've actually grown a lot during the pandemic, and we've hired, I think 15 of the 35 people in the past year, maybe more. Maybe
amazing.
More, actually, it could be more. Could be 20. So anyway, so we're trying to build a culture. We're trying to get the work done, and we're doing it remotely. We have offices in New York, and we were supposed to open an office in LA, but we have 9 people out in LA. Yeah. So, a few things we've done, and some things have been actually like we've institutionalized things we didn't have when we were in an office, so there's puts and takes of both of that. So in the office, there was like free flowing information, but we didn't really have set team meetings, right? Because we get very open office spaces as you do. So we'd call across the room, Renee, what do you think about this? Or, we're talking about things that we didn't really have institutionalized like group meetings.
The meeting self-organized.
Yeah, self-organized, like because you work in like pods. We have like, 5 or 6 pods that work on the different accounts. But now we have like we started with twice weekly pod calls in the beginning to really, because we really needed to stay connected. Now we do once a week calls with so I meet with each team. So we have like 8, I think we have 9 or 10 teams because we have the PR teams and we have like the subject matter expert teams. Sure. So every week I'm doing 10 calls with those teams to really guide them for the week, or they're guiding me sometimes too, right? So we know I'm able to find out what's happening. If each pod handles 10 clients, to know exactly what's happening every single week with 10 clients, right? We weren't doing that when we were in the office.
Right.
So that's been super crucial. And I think it's something we're obviously going to carry on when we get back together. So that's been great. And like Zoom is our friend, right? So obviously we're doing a lot of these meetings.
Zoom is our friend. Thank you, Zoom.
Our friend. Thank you. Nice to see you, Zoom.
Nice to see
you. Again, I really know I didn't fluff my pillow in the back, but I won't get up to do that. Usually and sometimes I'm in the office. So that's been great. And then also, obviously we use, tools, we use Monday.com, but also Slack, of course, has really been our friend.
Monday and Slack,
groups too, because we also have obviously like the team email, and then we need the press email, because we have a lot, especially like we have one called the pubs on our Slack, which is like where we're tracking like what's being written about the space. Not like necessarily, not always our clients, but this is way like we're really collaborating, looking like what stories are being written on a day-by-day basis where either we were included or maybe we should have been included. Yeah. So like we're using the tools in different ways than we were using them before the pandemic. So
it's called Pugs, the Slack channel that you have?
Called the pubs, like the publications, the pubs.
Pubs.
We call the pubs. Yeah. So we're like, if I saw something run in Healthline today about, like CBD and sleep, I send it to the team like, hey, next time we're thinking about, a new cannabinoid, maybe we want to go to this editor. So we're like really, and we're like leaving feedback on those and really understanding it. And just, I think we're drawing attention to things that sometimes we might not have happened in the office. That being said, I am missing like the free flowing of like ideas that come in an office. Like when we're doing strategy, like sometimes like something will pop in our minds, and now I gotta like pop it in the Slack or in an email. I'm supposed to like yelling it out, as you can tell I'm a talker. So that I miss. But you know, we plan once everybody's vaccinated, hopefully to be back in the offices by June or July, which would be great, and then open our
Perfect. Right,
office.
summertime. That's funny that that self-organizing structure. There was a famous American architect, Florence Knoll, who was credited with like revolutionizing office spaces to have more of this like modernist approach. And I'm so curious. I mean, she's passed away now, I think a couple of years, but she was a luminary in modernist offices, and that self-organizing structure. I just wonder what her perspective would be like on digital teams trying to find
Yeah.
that same component of random interactions, whatever those random interactions
Right.
are.
Also, it's like it's so funny. Like the team will get like just random like words from me in an email or a Slack because if it comes to my mind, I gotta like pop it in there as opposed
Right.
to when we're in the office and we can sort of talk about like what this idea is that I have.
Right. And there's this aggregation. It's not like you're amassing a bank vault of information. These are you're in and out, right? So it's a free flow. You're talking about like transfer rate, basically, right?
Yeah.
So you have the pubs channel. It's about not just ingestion, but also digestion of whatever this new information is, because it's only actionable for in your industry, probably like a day,
A day.
maybe a
A day.
week
A
at the
day.
most,
Exactly.
right? For us, it's a little bit longer because technology development, while fast, is it's not light speed fast.
It's not like news cycle fast.
It's
Exactly.
not news cycle fast, exactly.
Right.
And so we have channels on Slack that are like hunches,
Right.
bets, quotes, things like that, just things that we find inspiration in because that helps drive this. You've probably heard me say association, but this like aquifer, this cross pollination, where you're trying to engender light bulb moments, and you get
Yep.
those by having more access to more networking, network neurons in your brain.
Totally. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.